Hey everybody, what's going on? Dace here, and today we are going to be checking out my second 1cc or 1-all of Sengoku Blade, specifically the alternate route, or the bottom of the two options when you're given the option to choose which way you want to go. I think it's after stage 5. Yeah. So this is the secret passage in the basement or whatever it's called. So yeah. Anyway, we're not going to start the run just yet because I want to give myself a little extra time just to cover a few things, because sometimes I notice when I'm done a commentary, especially for very, very short shmups like this, which are 10 or 12 minutes or so, there's only so much time to say things. Sometimes I want to be able to convey something about a specific boss fight, but I'm also sharing parts of the experience or this and that, and before you know it, the boss fight is over because it only takes 2 seconds to take down a boss sometimes. So yeah, there were just a few things that we're going to touch on, and so yeah, just hang tight and then we'll get to the run. So I really enjoy when I stumble upon a shmup, and obviously I've known about Sengoku Blade for years at this point. Like, I've had it since, I'm not sure, 2019 or so. So it's not years and years, but it's still some time. But finally being able to get into it, or I won't say finally, because I've always been really into the idea, but finally dedicating myself to it, saying, okay, now is the time to buckle down and clear this game and just really play it. And what's really cool is that sometimes when I get really into a game and I love everything about it, I love the way it feels when you play the game, and then you clear it, you don't want it to be over yet. And that's kind of how it feels here, and I'm really stoked that the game offers 2 routes, because when I finish the first one, guess what? Yeah, there's another one that I can start chipping away at, and that's really exciting because you can still apply the things you've learned for the first chunk of the game, but then there's that extra challenge of the new stages you aren't familiar with. And now that I've cleared both routes, I don't feel like I'm finished with the game, but I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. Mainly because without save states, the second loop, like if I was going to tackle the second loop, that would just be a huge undertaking. Like, oh my god. I'm tempted to do it, to be honest. I am tempted, but we'll see how it goes. But either way, I just love this game. It just feels fantastic when you have everything super tight and you're just performing things perfectly and all that, and just some of the pressure points where things get crazy. It's just fantastic. So I have a few notes here. I think it's maybe, I know some of the things I can probably squeeze in here and there, but I just want to make sure that I am able to specify the things I want without needing to cut it short all of a sudden because I see that the video when I'm watching it is near the end. So, but I think I can probably jump in. So let me just go like this. So yeah, you'll notice the first stage is the same as the other route. I have the best time. I would say my strongest is when I start with this stage. That's just how it is. Sometimes if this is the stage 3 for me, the pattern just throws me way off for the boss fight, and then things are just crazy. But yeah. So for the most part, the first few stages are gonna be approached the exact same way. So there's like really nothing new in that sense. But guess what? Here we are at the boss already. And it's interesting because I'll point out the things as we go. We've seen one of the halfway bosses already, but what's interesting to me is that when I first started playing this, the green guy who shows up in stage 2, he was always somewhat a risky fight. It was like one of those frantic moments, and the pink ninja for stage 3, whatever stage 3 is, that was always really, really brutal for me, just because she pops up and then stuff's going all over the place. She has robotic drones in the air, and I always had to bomb, or sometimes I would take a hit, and it's just amazing how inexperience can create this sense of it feeling daunting or so risky, but in reality, there's really nothing going on there. Like, as you can see with the green guy that I just did a few moments ago, it's just you dodge a single bullet, and then you're using your spears and backing up and shooting, and then boom, like 2 seconds later, the dude is toast. And it's going to be the same with the pink ninja. It's the exact same thing. You just move up to avoid the initial attack, and then she's toast before anything else even really happens. So it's just interesting how you can just put your knowledge to use. And the bosses, like here, I love how, like, obviously I'm using Katana, who has crazy damage output, so obviously it's going to be a different experience with the other characters, but I just love how there are very specific windows of opportunity in which once you know when to spear and what to dodge, there's really no way you can mess up the fight, unless you get sidetracked or you're just daydreaming or whatever. But it's very consistent. Like, there's no threat in these first 3 stages whatsoever. So yeah, it's just amazing the difference you feel, the confidence that comes with just knowing what to do, and it just becomes very simple stuff. One thing that can throw things off sometimes is the timing of the green enemies that can show up during boss fights. I'm not sure exactly what all triggers that. Obviously rank might to some degree, but yeah, the boss of the next stage, I think it is, yeah. Sometimes that can be a tricky one because they can filter in, disrupt the timing that I would normally attack the boss with my spears, and so then I'm bombing instead just to play it safe. But again, if you have practiced a bit of a backup plan, then you're pretty much good to go. You can just kind of continue what you were going to do because you know what attack the boss is going to be doing next, so you know where to position yourself. If there's one thing, actually, you know what, I'll save that for a moment because we're going to be at the boss in no time. But yeah, this is such a fantastic game. I just love this game. Perfect example, just spear, done. Like, nothing is happening. Again, just toast. Sometimes he even goes down faster than that. So this is one of those moments where I bomb because I'm not taking a chance, but I know that I have a space in the middle that's safe because he just does that attack, so you can still get in there for the spear and then proceed normally and boom, done. If there's one thing that's really interesting with this, unlike some games like Samurai Aces, that one felt like if you take a hit too early, you might as well be restarting, even though I typically don't like to restart, but it just felt like such a punishing game that if you mess up and you lose the bombs, you might as well just start over. But in this, in Sengoku Blade, it's the complete opposite, because rank drops significantly when you take a hit. So even if there have been countless, well, not countless, but there have been tons of runs I've done where I've taken a hit in, let's say, stage 4 or 5 and lost 5 or 6 bombs, like the whole maximum amount. And I say, you know what, I'm just going to keep going because I know the rank has dropped now, so it's not going to be as crazy. And I still make it to the final boss. And that's really interesting to see because you don't need to bother restarting or anything like that in this game. It's just, in ways, you have a better chance if you have taken a hit, even though it's not desirable by any means. So the hit I took during this fight, that was just sloppy. Could have easily just not gotten hit there, but it's just one of those times where you just run right into it. And another thing I love about this game too, we've seen some examples already, I just haven't pointed them out, but being able to do the timing for specific bosses, like before they show up, or as they're filtering on the screen, so that you can kill 2 enemies that are kind of like dropping into position, because the spears are just floating in space once you've launched them. I just love that kind of stuff. Or firing them out before something even shows up, and then as they do come into position, they're just gone, like some of the birds and things like that. Oh, but... oh, man. I suppose what I could do if I wanted to keep playing more and more is play with other characters, but the thing is, I'm so into Katana and the way she plays that I don't really have an interest in playing the other characters, to be honest. I just love how calculating you can be. But I'm not going to get too into depth with that because I babbled on about that in the last commentary. This was a situation where I knew what I was supposed to do, but my brain froze for a second, so I just bombed because I didn't want to take a chance in case the guy started sniping at me. But yeah, here's another prime example where the boss is not doing anything crazy. It's like, okay, you avoid the shots from there, 2 spear shots later, and then you do that one simple attack to avoid, and your next spear shot, and it's done. Whereas normally, going into it for the first time, you might be flying all over the place, just going crazy, and then taking hits from all over. This is a tricky opening, because it's so easy to hit an enemy and then lose your spears because of that. And because that's what happened here, I just knew, okay, well, I just gotta cling to the wall because I know I won't get hit here as long as I'm watching out for stuff like that. But yeah, you gotta be so careful. Now I just wasn't paying attention. That little shot coming up from the bottom. So at this point I knew, okay, this is a pretty decent... I have a pretty decent chance at doing it this time because I know I have 1 bomb and then whatever with the next life. I don't need to use the bomb for these first 2 stages. So this guy goes down like nothing. Super easy. And this next part goes down pretty much just as fast with a bit of shooting. But I love the design of that thing, this huge metal orb. So launch, fire, just keep firing. I almost took a hit there, that was crazy. So I'm not taking chances with that. And always use your bomb to charge. Like when you're firing your bomb off, use it to... I just got trapped there. Just use it to charge your weapon. I love the fact that you can do that. And it was still a close match. I was in a position where it's like, okay, I've got to use my bombs just to maybe let one of those powers drift into me in time to then charge it still before the attack comes around again. But yeah, it was just bonkers stuff. It's interesting because it wasn't a crazy feeling run. I didn't go into this thinking, oh man, this is intense. It was just, I think a huge amount of pressure had come off from when I did the first clear, which was, to me, so much more difficult. That was just a bonkers. And look at this second loop! I realize I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but yeah, that second loop was just nuts. But I think because the pressure was off from having finally cleared it the first time, the alternate route felt like a breeze by comparison. It still took a couple days to just sort out what to do and just have a decent run, but I really enjoyed it. What else was I going to mention? And I do like that about runs like that where it's not about, oh, I've got to do this. It's like, you know it's going to happen. You know you're so close. You're just casually playing and allowing it to happen when it does. That's just fantastic stuff. But anyway, if there is anything else I need to tack on to the end, then I'll just add some extra footage or something like that. But I think that's pretty much everything I want to say. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let me know what you think of this run. I absolutely love this game. I think it's just such a blast. And yeah, I'll leave it up there for now. Have a stellar one, and we will see you all next time. Take care.